Nico Rosberg didn't mince words. It's like watching a master pianist fumble the keys. That was his assessment of Lewis Hamilton's driving through turns 6 and 7 in Hungary, and it sent a ripple through the paddock that still hasn't faded. Rosberg framed it as a revelation, because what he saw wasn't just a bad qualifying lap. It was a legendary driver battling muscle memory inside a machine that refused to cooperate. And it raised a terrifying question. Had Hamilton's greatest strength finally become his biggest liability? The 7-time world champion, known for his razor-sharp trail braking and surgical control at corner entry, now finds that very technique triggering chaos within Ferrari's SF25. Deep braking used to be his secret weapon, pivoting the car late, rotating it sharply, managing load transfers like a conductor guiding a symphony. But now, with Ferrari's fragile rear diffuser architecture and temperamental balance, that very technique is destabilizing the car. It's stalling the airflow, breaking the rear end loose, and leaving Hamilton caught in a vicious loop. And all of this came to a head during one of Hamilton's worst qualifying performances at the Hungaroring in 15 years, out in Q2, stranded in 12th, with no obvious answers and only haunting questions. After the session, his voice cracked over the radio. "Hopefully I'll be back." 4 words. But in Formula One, 4 words can be an earthquake. Not "I'll be back." Hopefully. What began as Hamilton's bold, romantic swan song, a final chapter in Ferrari Red, has turned into something far more fragile. The cameras captured the symptoms. Head down in the paddock, quiet stares at telemetry, silence during debriefs. But Rosberg captured the truth. This isn't just set-up confusion. It's the kind of fundamental misalignment between driver and car that no amount of simulator hours can cure. The moment Hamilton signed with Ferrari, the script was supposed to write itself. A generational driver, a legendary team. Together, one final push to capture a world title that had eluded them both since 2008. But halfway into the 2025 season, that script is unraveling. It's not just the results, though those have been painful. It's the pattern. On weekends where Charles Leclerc threads the car onto pole position, Hamilton barely scrapes through Q2. When Ferrari delivers a chassis capable of brilliance, Hamilton struggles to extract even basic consistency. From the outside, it looks like adaptation problems. But Rosberg's comments opened a deeper layer. The problem isn't that Hamilton is slow, it's that he's driving the car wrong, because the way he drives has become incompatible with what Ferrari has built. His famed deep trail braking destabilizes the rear diffuser and throws off the SF25's fragile aero balance. Ferrari engineers know it. The telemetry confirms it. The simulator shows it. But knowing the issue is only half the battle. Asking a driver like Hamilton, hardwired over 2 decades to drive on instinct, to reprogram that instinct mid-season is like asking a concert pianist to swap hands and play backwards. Unlike at Mercedes, where the car development revolved around his inputs for years, Ferrari's DNA is different. It's an ecosystem designed around Leclerc, a different braking style, a different steering trace, a different rhythm entirely. As a result, Hamilton's presence, once meant to elevate the team, has instead highlighted its limits. At the heart of Lewis Hamilton's crisis lies a simple truth with devastating consequences. Ferrari's SF25 was not built for a driver who brakes like him. On paper, trail braking is one of the most elegant techniques in Formula One. Hamilton mastered this years ago. It's how he built his legendary wet weather performances, how he overtook where others lifted, how he extended tyre life while keeping lap times sharp. But the SF25 doesn't reward trail braking, it punishes it. The car's rear aero platform is notoriously fragile. Its floor design, combined with a tightly packaged diffuser, is hypersensitive to load changes during corner entry. When Hamilton trail breaks into a turn, he introduces rapid pitch changes that stall airflow through the diffuser, destabilizing the rear and causing unpredictable snaps. Ferrari engineers have spent hours trying to widen the setup window to accommodate Hamilton's style, adjusting rake, shifting weight distribution, softening rear suspension travel, but every solution opens a new problem. What's worse, these changes don't only affect Hamilton. They often degrade Leclerc's performance too, creating a compromised setup that satisfies no one. The telemetry shows it. Hamilton's corner traces diverge significantly from Leclerc's, especially in medium speed turns, like those in Sector 2 at the Hungaroring. Leclerc lifts early, brakes in a straight line, and rotates with minimal steering input. Hamilton brakes later, trails into the apex, and relies on rotation during deceleration. And on this car, that difference isn't subtle. It's lap time. It's tyre degradation. It's confidence under pressure. Inside the Ferrari garage, the challenge isn't just mechanical, it's philosophical. Every weekend now unfolds like a strategic paradox. How do you set up a car for a driver whose instincts are incompatible with your platform without destroying the competitiveness of the package as a whole? After the Canada incident, where Hamilton's preferred brake compound triggered a destabilising rear snap into turn 3, Ferrari shifted to a softer pad for Hungary, hoping to smooth the initial bite. But that robbed him of confidence, forcing earlier braking and awkward corner entry angles. The result? A spin in Q2 and a qualifying performance more suited to a midfield rookie than a 7-time world champion. It's become a feedback loop with no exits. Hamilton asks for changes to restore front-end response. The team obliges. The rear becomes unpredictable. They dial it back. He understeers. And all the while, Charles Leclerc quietly delivers results with a fundamentally different driving approach. Shorter braking zones, smoother load transfer, less rear rotation. What makes this moment in Hamilton's career so haunting isn't just the lap times, it's the silence. The quiet between interviews, the look in his eyes during the post-race debriefs. This isn't the Hamilton we've known for 17 years. The fierce competitor who once weaponized his setbacks, who turned media questions into motivational fuel. This is a version weighed down by a deeper kind of frustration. After his Q2 elimination in Hungary, his voice on the radio wasn't angry, it was subdued. Hopefully, I'll be back. It was a phrase that sparked headlines, not because of what it said, but because of what it suggested. Not certainty, not leadership, doubt. Hamilton's frustration with the car is matched only by his frustration with himself. He knows what's wrong, he can feel it. But what's new, and far more disturbing, is the helplessness. At Mercedes, problems were solved through collaboration. He and Bono shared a telepathic rhythm. At Ferrari, even the process of improvement feels foreign. Team principal Fred Vasseur has tried to play down the drama, insisting that Hamilton is simply demanding with himself, the car, the team. That's why he's a 7-time world champion, Vasseur told the press. But those words sound more like a plea than a proclamation, because what played out in Hungary wasn't demand, it was despair. It's easy to talk about emotions, driving styles, and missed setups. But Formula One is ultimately measured in points. Cold, brutal mathematics that leaves no room for sentiment. And right now, the numbers are damning. After 12 rounds, Lewis Hamilton sits 7th in the drivers' standings with just 58 points, a staggering 103 points behind championship leader Lando Norris. More concerning? He trails his own teammate Charles Leclerc by 47. That's nearly 2 full race wins of separation. In the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari have slipped to 3rd, 86 points behind McLaren. It's a deficit that grows more daunting every weekend Hamilton finishes outside the top 10. Since the summer break, Hamilton has averaged just 4.2 points per race. In that same span, Oscar Piastri has averaged nearly double. Hamilton's situation isn't new. In fact, it fits a pattern that's almost mythical in Formula One lore. The allure of Ferrari drawing in the sport's greatest talents, only to test them in ways no other team can. Ask Fernando Alonso, who joined Ferrari in 2010 as the heir to Schumacher's legacy, only to endure 5 seasons of internal politics, strategic implosions and near misses. Ask Sebastian Vettel, who left Red Bull as a 4-time champion and walked into Maranello in 2015 with dreams of emulating his idol Michael Schumacher. By 2020, he was quietly shown the door. What makes Hamilton's situation more delicate is the timing. He didn't join Ferrari at 27, like Alonso. He's 40. This wasn't supposed to be a 5-year project. It was a final chapter. Hamilton left Mercedes because he wanted a new mountain to climb, a fresh canvas to paint his legacy. But he may have walked into the one place where greatness alone isn't enough. While Ferrari wrestles with internal misalignment, the rest of the grid isn't standing still. McLaren, once a midfield team on life support, has now executed one of the most remarkable turnarounds in modern Formula One. Andrea Stella's leadership has transformed the MCL 38 into a weapon that thrives across multiple circuits, tyre compounds and weather conditions. What's most impressive isn't just the car's speed, it's the range of adaptability built into its architecture. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri have contrasting styles, yet both drivers extract consistent performance without having to rewire their instincts. Red Bull too, despite a temporary drop in dominance, still benefits from a design legacy engineered for versatility. And here's the brutal truth. Every weekend, Hamilton spends trying to survive in the SF25. Lando Norris is thriving in a machine that's unlocking new potential. In Hungary, Norris didn't just win, He dominated, effortlessly, confidently, in a car that responded to his inputs like an extension of his thoughts. Meanwhile, Hamilton spun in qualifying and finished 12th, caught in an endless tug-of-war with setup sheets and simulator data. The road ahead for Ferrari and Lewis Hamilton is steep, and getting steeper with every Grand Prix. The SF25's limitations are no longer isolated to specific circuits. If Ferrari wants to recover, this season or next, they must face a critical decision. Do they double down on Charles Leclerc's driving profile, continuing to refine a concept that rewards smooth inputs and early rotation? Or do they pivot, risking short-term instability, to develop a car more compatible with Hamilton's strengths? From Hamilton's side, the implications are even more personal. The summer break was supposed to be a time of recalibration, but after Hungary's emotional implosion, it now looms like a crossroads. When he said, "Hopefully I'll be back," it wasn't just physical fatigue speaking, it was mental exhaustion. At age 40, Hamilton knows what time means. He doesn't have 3 seasons to rebuild. And again, legacy in Formula One is rarely written in one season, but one season can reshape how it's remembered. For Lewis Hamilton, the risk is no longer just about missed podiums or set-up frustration. It's about narrative erosion. A champion whose entire career has been defined by relentless excellence is now facing something more corrosive than defeat: irrelevance. At Mercedes, even during the team's late-era struggles, Hamilton was still feared, still revered, still capable of pulling brilliance from chaos. But this season at Ferrari is different. He's not just battling the car, he's disappearing within it. The longer he languishes outside the points, the louder the whispers grow. There's historical precedent for this kind of unraveling. Ayrton Senna's final months at Williams were marred by a car he didn't trust. Fernando Alonso's Ferrari exit was steeped in frustration and missed opportunity. Even Michael Schumacher's Mercedes comeback, while brave, failed to recapture his old magic. But Hamilton's story has always defied those arcs. He was the one who never faded. Now, for the first time, he looks human. So where does this all go from here? For Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari, the answer hinges not on potential, but on pace. Now, not next year. Because the reality of Formula One is brutal in its clarity. Either you're climbing or you're falling. And right now, Hamilton isn't climbing. The technical challenges are immense, but solvable with time. The real threat is psychological. Every race Hamilton spends struggling to make the SF25 respond is a race where belief erodes, within himself, within the team, and within the wider Formula One ecosystem. He doesn't need a miracle turnaround, he needs a signal, a clean weekend, a top 5 finish. A moment that shows this isn't the slow death of a dream, but the middle of a difficult, meaningful transformation. For Ferrari, the mandate is just as stark. If they want this partnership to work, they must do more than offer public support. They must show strategic intent. The question isn't whether Hamilton can still drive at the highest level. The telemetry says he can. The question is whether Ferrari is capable of becoming the kind of team that lets him prove it. The next 3 races will be telling. If Hamilton comes back from the summer break with fire, clarity, and a car even slightly more aligned with his rhythm, this narrative could flip. For now, all eyes turn to Monza, the cathedral of speed, the heart of Ferrari's soul. If Hamilton can find redemption anywhere, it's there, because Formula One doesn't wait for legends to find their footing. And if Lewis Hamilton can't adapt fast enough, technically, emotionally, or politically, then this dream move may end not with triumph, but with silence. And in the deafening roar of Monza, that silence would say everything.